Good morning. It's so exciting to see all of you here come literally from all over the world. People just starting out their careers in planetary health, people who are well established, new faces, old friends. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. It's really inspiring. It's my real honor to open the inaugural Planetary Health, GeoHealth annual meeting by introducing the Dean of the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, our Dean Michelle Williams. Dean Williams is an internationally renowned epidemiologist and public health scientist. She is an award-winning educator, a widely recognized academic leader. Prior to being our dean starting last summer, she was our professor and chair of the Department of Epidemiology. She's had an extraordinarily illustrious career, building both new knowledge and new programs wherever she has been. So it's really an exceptional pleasure to be able to start the day's meetings off by introducing our Dean, Michelle Williams. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, for that generous introduction, and welcome everyone on a Saturday spring morning in Boston to see this Joseph Martin Center auditorium full is gratifying to me, and it is a testament to the significance, the importance of the topic we will be discussing, but also to your commitment. So thank you all for being here. On behalf of the Harvard Chan School of Public Health, I welcome you and our school, along with the Harvard University Center for the Environment, are proud co-hosts of the Planetary Health Alliance. As Sam mentioned, I'm Michelle Williams, and I am a new dean of the School of Public Health, and I'm very pleased again to welcome you. I want to also express my gratitude to the Rockefeller Foundation for the visionary and seminal support of the fast emerging and highly interdisciplinary field of planetary health. We are also thankful to the Wellcome Trust for their support of this meeting, for bringing so many of their grantees to attend the meeting, and for their extraordinary leadership in funding research in the field of planetary health through their Our Planet, Our Health initiative. As many of you know, public health is truly multidisciplinary. Public health incorporates expertise from a variety of fields, including the life sciences, the population sciences, health policy, and the social sciences, all of which are focused on addressing complex health problems. Public health and planetary health problems are similar in nature. Planetary health problems are inherently complex, completely interdisciplinary, and growing in scale and urgency. Academic institutions like schools of public health have unique responsibility, and I would say obligation, to study and draw attention to crucial scientific issues, particularly those that have an impact on people's health and well-being everywhere. Similarly, universities are inherently well-equipped to address planetary health problems because of the breadth of expertise across natural, health, and social sciences that can be found at universities. And there's a growing need for schools of public health, and indeed entire universities, to be forward-thinking about ways to address problems that don't fit within a specific department, a specific discipline, or even a specific school, as some of us were talking about this morning. But rather, addressing these problems require us to cut across the entire landscape of our universities, and require much greater collaboration than we have seen and implemented over the last decades and century, at least in the century history of our school. At the Harvard Chan School, we are committed to understanding and communicating the human health impacts of global environmental change, to integrating health and sustainability, and addressing the issues of planetary health. In fact, I'm delighted, as many of our faculty are, to welcome to the school our inaugural class of master's students in interdisciplinary program entitled Sustainability, Health, and the Global Environment. This is a program which will train leaders and practitioners in the field of sustainability. As the Rockefeller Foundation Lancet Commission on Planetary Health affirms, the role of health professionals is essential to achieve planetary health. We are honored to be able to host this first Planetary Health annual meeting and to have you all here with us again on a beautiful Saturday morning. We hope that you will look back on this event as a foundational moment in the emergence of an important new field. I thank you for your participation, and I look forward to the discussions that will ensue throughout the day and tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those really inspiring comments. Now I get to introduce Michael Myers, who is no relation. Michael is a managing director at the Rockefeller Foundation, and in that role leads global health efforts for the Rockefeller Foundation. He's been an extremely dedicated and steadfast supporter and leader in planetary health. It was Michael back in the summer of 2014 when the Commission on Planetary Health was first convened in Italy, who coined the term for planetary health as Public Health 2.0. And ever since, he's been tirelessly supporting the growth of the planetary health field in a whole variety of ways, some of which I think he will talk about. Michael's a great listener. He's a connector. He's a deep thinker. And I think we are all enormously lucky to have him as a champion of planetary health. So it's a great pleasure to introduce Michael.
I don't think I recognize the person who was just introduced, so thank you, Sam, for that. This has been an occasion in which I've been thinking about many firsts in my life. And I think about the first time I rode a bicycle. I can still remember that feeling of freedom, the first time. When I played soccer in college, I was on my college soccer team, the first time I scored a goal. I remember that so vividly. In fact, I scored 4 goals that day. I never repeated that to the disappointment of my coach. I remember the first job with a real paycheck. Do you all remember that? And then paying taxes, the first time you had to pay taxes on that paycheck. I remember, I'm a scuba diver, so I remember my first scuba dive. And just that magic of the teeming life around the coral on the reefs was just exquisite and just brought me to a different space. So I remembered that vividly. I remember my first marathon. I ran it here in Boston. No, I didn't come in first, but I ran it. So that was a first for me. And so there are all these firsts that I remember. But right up there with them was the first annual meeting of the Planetary Health Alliance and GeoHealth. And this is just a magical moment. I think it's a moment that we will all mark in history as a time when we came together in a very special and unique way to address the challenges that are before us on this planet and with individuals on this planet. So this to me is an important first in my life, and I hope you will feel the same about it as we go through this weekend together. Now, congratulations to Sam, To Amalia, who's done so much to make this possible. You've been amazing. Thanks to Brooks Hansen, I think is Brooks here, and the Geophysical Union people, American Geophysical Union people for all this, and so many people who have been such leaders and mentors for me over this period. You know, Steve Osofsky and Montira Pongsri, now at Cornell. We all know and love them dearly. And thanks to the Lancet and the Ecological Society, the Harvard Center for Environment for being involved in this first of a moment. And Wellcome Trust, the partnership, Claire, with you has just been amazing and so inspirational and helpful in shaping thinking, and the whole team there at the Trust. So thanks for that. And then to all of you for the many years of work. Some of you have been in this field or facets of it for your entire careers, and you've stuck to it, and it's just been an amazing thing to be part of and to witness. So as a result, every day new evidence is unearthed about the connection between the environment and health, and the science is growing about those connections. And I'm amazed as I talk to people, as I read about the evolving science, how personal it quickly becomes. I don't mean to trivialize it, but one way it came home very, very personally to me was last week when I read the new study in which air pollution can affect good cholesterol. Now, I'm one who has to watch his cholesterol, so that came home very quickly to me. But I'm also looking forward to another first. And that one is when one day we can have conversations that touch on environment and health and climate change without ever mentioning those words. And that is a day in which we're simply talking about how to facilitate human progress, how to develop and grow economies, how to ensure fairness and equity around the planet. And the way we do that is just understood. It's thinking of what Montira has taught me, of the environment and health as a single problem that we have to solve together. So I look forward to that day. Now, I'm really, really eager to hear what Howie has to say, but let me, because I'm so excited to be on the stage with you, Howie, but let me mention a few things that the Rockefeller Foundation is doing and how we got to this point. So I had the pleasure of leading our 100th anniversary program. The Rockefeller Foundation was 100 years old in the year 2013. So I organized a series of consultations around the world on different topics, one of which was on health. I challenged the assembly there to think about, well, what are the challenges in health for the next 100 years? Now, we happen to be holding this meeting in Beijing. The PM 2.5 level outside that day was one of those that was just off the charts yet again. So everyone said, well, just look outside. That's the challenge. And Richard Horton stood up and said, planetary health. And so, Nick, that's where we all got in trouble that day and joined in this new cause of planetary health. So our first investment was in a Rockefeller Lancet Commission that Howie was a member of it, and you heard mentioned earlier, Sam was a member of it. And that commission produced its report in July of 2015 and said, yes, there's something to this. And not only is there a there's a structure of how we can approach it, and it's urgent. We need to get to the task immediately. So that we were proud supporters and heavily involved in that. So following from that landmark report that's a guidepost for so much of the work that is following, we've been an investor in the Planetary Health Alliance, very proud of where that stands today, just looking at this audience. And that's a major achievement in connecting all of you and others around the planet who are working in this space. So developing this community of practice and training future leaders in planetary health. We're building on the investments we've made in One Health over the years, so supporting the work that Steve and Montira and others are doing in this space moving forward with a planetary health lens. And you can talk to Steve and Monteiro about the exciting work they're doing. We're supporting the Columbia Mailman School of Public Health. Sorry, Dean, that is the competitor down the road. But where Dean Freed is working to develop this consortium of schools of health that working on climate and health together and bringing a planetary health lens to that. And we're supporting the UN Climate Agency, the UNFCCC, has a platform with our support on planetary health. So it's to promote the thinking around planetary health within the climate world, to surface innovations and actions that are taking place in communities around the world related to planetary health, and then actions at the COP conferences themselves that promote the view of planetary health. So those are the things that we're doing now. But there's one dimension of this field that we felt it was important to really weigh in on for us. And that is, if we're going to bring science to policy in even more effective ways, we need to build an ever stronger case, an ever stronger economic case, ever stronger policy case for planetary health. What we have done is launched a high-level panel to look at this. And it is led by Mexican former President Ernesto Zedillo, himself a PhD economist and central banker. And Lata Swamy is here today. Lata, raise your hand, is working with Professor Zedillo on that. And their members of the commission include people like Nick Stern, of the Stern Report, so updating that, Gru Harlem Brundtland, former Mozambican Prime Minister Luisa Diogo, Jack Lew from the United States, and others. So we got all continents covered on this. And Andy Haynes, who many of you know, is also on it. So we keep that link with the science of health and planetary health. So that's going forward, and the Oxford Martin School is serving as the secretariat for this body. Their report will come out later next year, in about 18 months from now. So that is going forward. But I want to underscore one thing about this that I think is very important, which is I do not want this commission's work to be operating on a parallel track to the work that you are all doing. It needs to come together. So that when we look, that's why I wanted Andy Haynes to be on this commission, for one thing, but we should talk about other ways to really bring all that together. Because the field of planetary health should be about the science, but it should also be about how do you influence policy? How do you make the economic and business case for what we're doing? How do you bring in engineering and education and other aspects so that this multidisciplinary approach really comes together and is unified for better solutions to the challenges that lie ahead? Finally, one thing that we should think about in this conference is how do we form a movement? And I'm really happy, Sam, that the agenda tomorrow really gets into that. I think that's very important. So many conversations we've had on this subject are, yes, we need to develop the science. That's critically important. It's the foundation of everything we do. But we also need a movement going forward. And so we need to think about that. Pat Conrad was telling me over coffee this morning about how in California now the state of California is doing job postings outside EPA offices. So it's saying to people, if you can't work at EPA, the state of California could use your help. So things that's kind of a creative mischief that I think we should be thinking about going forward. So this movement thing is something I don't know exactly how to do it, but I think it's an important thing for us all to consider. So I'm so pleased to be here with all of you. It's a thrill. It's an honor to see you. I'm humbled by the people who are in this room and all you've accomplished in your careers and all that you're going to accomplish in the years ahead. Thanks to everyone for being here.